Amazon.com is becoming Big Brother, and it's becoming a danger to our privacy and to our security. Many people don't realize just how dangerous it is to have one company that knows everything you buy, everything you consume, that's building a psychological profile of who you are and what your needs are and what your interests are. If you're watching movies from Amazon Prime, they're building a psychological profile based on your movies. If you're using Amazon Fire or Amazon Kindle, they're building a profile on what you're reading. It's like a librarian that can peer into your life. At the same time, they know exactly what you're buying and consuming. And now Amazon rolls out its Amazon Echo device, which is a listening device. It literally sits in your living room and it listens to everything you say and it records things that you say. And law enforcement authorities across America are already trying to access that recorded data from Amazon devices so that they can use it against you to indict you, to declare you to be a criminal and throw you in prison for things that you said in the privacy of your own home. And that's not the only risk. Amazon is also owned by Jeff Bezos, and he owns the Washington Post. Now, the Washington Post has become a source of what I call journo-terrorism. It is engaged in the deliberate fabrication of false news with the intended purpose of terrorizing the American citizens for political gain. The Washington Post, for example, completely fabricated the Russian hacking story about the Russians hacking the election and handing Trump a victory. That was completely fabricated. The Washington Post fabricated the story about 200 websites, including my website, Natural News. They claimed that we were working with the Russians, that I'm a Russian spy or something. This was also Washington Post. The paper got caught fabricating another story, claiming the Russians hacked a Vermont utility in Burlington, I believe, claiming that the Russians had penetrated the U.S. power grid by hacking that company. Turned out to be a complete fabrication. So the Washington Post is engaged in really the most malicious and dangerous type of propaganda for America, which is the use of fear and terrorism to spread disinformation for political purposes. When you combine this with the Big Brother surveillance attitude of Amazon.com and the fact that it has become a monopoly that's putting retailers out of business left and right, it controls now maybe a third of all online sales during the holiday season. You are looking at a very dangerous entity in the hands of one person who is a globalist. Jeff Bezos is a globalist. He's like Dr. Evil from Austin Powers, except actually scary and not really very funny. Jeff Bezos is a threat to our freedom, a threat to our liberty, a threat to our privacy. And he's demonstrated that by intentionally deploying the Washington Post as a propaganda weapon to spread knowingly disinformation and false news, fake news. That's what the Washington Post does. And he's funding the Washington Post by using revenues from Amazon.com to subsidize a paper that otherwise would have gone bankrupt. Because the Washington Post cannot run itself, it can't finance itself based on advertising revenues. It has to be subsidized. That effort to be a propaganda rag, a disinformation hub, that entire agenda of the Washington Post to destroy America, to destroy the Trump administration, to de-educate the population, to revise history, to spread false information. All of these things take money, and Jeff Bezos is financing those operations through Amazon.com profits, which are, of course, substantial. So what we need to do as consumers is realize that if we purchase through Amazon.com, we are in effect funding journo-terrorism. And I encourage everyone to really find alternatives of where you can purchase goods online. I've been a longtime customer of Amazon.com, and I've enjoyed many of the benefits, the prime shipping and so on. But today I'm deliberately trying to reduce my purchases from Amazon and support other smaller retailers, specialty retailers. For example, I purchase a lot of outdoor and sports and survival type of supplies. So I try to go to places like Midway USA or Sportsman's Guide or other alternatives that aren't tied into the Jeff Bezos Dr. Evil global propaganda agenda. And that's what we each have to do individually. We have to stop letting Amazon have our money and have our minds by building a psychological profile of the movies we watch, the food we eat, the products we buy, the gifts we buy, and also even, installing devices in our living rooms that listen to our voices. I wouldn't be surprised, by the way, if Amazon Fire devices are also listening devices that can be activated by law enforcement or by the NSA. I think that most Amazon devices that have microphones in them can, and probably at times are, used to spy on individuals in ways that we never know about. We know that government spooks are clients of Amazon technology systems, their hosted servers and bandwidth and processing systems. The CIA is one of their larger clients, and Amazon does huge business with the federal government. So there's leverage on the part of the government to twist the arm of Bezos and Amazon and force them to hand over customer records or audio recordings from your living room or even your bedroom, for that matter. There's influence from state actors to convince Amazon.com to sacrifice your privacy in its goal to maintain business relationships, profitable ones, with the government at large. So another important rule of thumb is never purchase any device that is a listening device and put it in your private home. If you do, then all of your conversations, which you thought were private, can be recorded, and they can be analyzed. They can be put through speech recognition systems to make transcripts, and those can be keyword searched using very simple algorithms. I've even written similar types of algorithms for my content systems. It's not a difficult thing to create a large database of everything you've ever said, and then to use that to index keywords in the transcripts of your speech that you thought was private, and then to use that against you in a court of law. And that's what law enforcement can do, and that's what the NSA can do, and that's what even the CIA can do. And Amazon is making that possible. Amazon is enabling Big Brother to listen to your words and also to peer into your mind. Amazon itself is not your Big Brother, but Amazon is the gateway to Big Brother. Amazon is what allows Big Brother to know everything about you that you once thought was secret, including what you're saying in your private moments, or even the things that you're watching, the things that you're reading. Amazon knows the text that you highlight in a book on your Kindle devices, and that is linked to your credit card, which is linked to your social security number, which is linked to your driver's license, which is linked to your home address. So for the typical consumer who's buying Amazon.com books, Kindle books, or watching movies through Amazon, even without an NSA, the Jeff Bezos Big Brother surveillance empire knows everything about you. That's why they can predict what you want to buy. You ever notice that? Amazon suggests things for you. They suggest movies for you. They suggest books for you. They suggest products for you. Why do those fit? Why are those such good suggestions? In other words, highly relevant to your state of mind or interests. Why? Because Amazon already has decoded your mind. They know everything about you. They know what you're interested in. They know what you read. They know what you say. And they have a record of all of it. And all of that can be and will be used against you in a court of law if you do anything that falls outside social norms. For example, you may be, like me, a prepper. You might be interested in preparedness or self-reliance. You might have been critical of the Obama administration, so you might be labeled anti-government, even though you're not really opposed to government, you're opposed to corrupt government. But that doesn't matter. They can label you anti-government. They can label you an extremist for any reason at all, just to have any opinion that's not considered the status quo. And then they can go in and look at all the books you bought. Oh, look, you bought emergency medicine. You bought ditch medicine. You bought how to repair your AR-15. And then they can go to your Amazon Echo audio recordings, and they can actually bring in a recording of you talking about your rifle or your ammo supplies or how you think the system is collapsing. And they can use all of that to make you look like a lunatic. And then they can use that to prosecute you, or even worse, send you to a psychiatric treatment center, where they'll put you on psychiatric drugs, take away your willpower, and basically imprison you chemically for the rest of your life. This is what Amazon now has enabled. And every day that you buy from Amazon or watch a movie from Amazon or read a book from Amazon, you are surrendering a psychological profile. You are, in essence, incriminating yourself to an unjust, corrupt police state, surveillance state regime that historically has had no respect whatsoever for your privacy. Look at what Edward Snowden revealed about the NSA and the FISA court orders, which are a total joke. This government and this corporate fascist system, which Jeff Bezos helps lead, has had zero respect for your privacy. They have abused that privacy at every turn. Look at all the back doors that the NSA has built into Google, to Twitter, to Microsoft, into Yahoo, Facebook, and also, of course, no doubt, Amazon.com. You think the things that you buy are your little secrets, that they're private? Think again. And in exactly the same way that Facebook is really an NSA spy machine that's designed to build a psychological profile of you and your friends, creating the social connections that can incriminate you in the future. Amazon.com is allowing the NSA or Jeff Bezos to build psychological connections between you and certain topics or certain authors or certain even actors in certain types of movies and so on. All of this entire profile exists to exploit you, to manipulate you, to control you. None of it exists to set you free. Jeff Bezos does not have an aim to expand human liberty and knowledge and freedom and set people's minds free. No. His goal is to exploit everything that he can find out about you, to initially sell you stuff, and then after that, perhaps sell your profile to the NSA or the CIA, or hand it over to the government, or perhaps sell it to third-party marketers who use it to try to manipulate you. This is the surveillance empire that Jeff Bezos has built, disguised as a retailer. We all need to be reminded of the benefits of anonymous retail transactions. When you go to a grocery store and you pay in cash, no one knows what you bought. There's no record of it, unless you're using one of those, food discount cards, which you shouldn't use. If you shop at a hardware store, it's anonymous. If you shop at a Best Buy, it's anonymous if you're paying cash. And even if you're using a credit card, that credit card record doesn't detail every little product that you purchased in one transaction. So you have privacy in your transactions. Whether you're going to the grocery store to purchase something that you might be embarrassed by, or something that you think could be used against you, even though you're acquiring it for an innocent reason, duct tape, you're just buying duct tape. You have to do some household repairs. Well, a law enforcement authority could say, well, that's the same tape that's used to bind the hands of hostages. That's the kind of crap that they come up with. Well, maybe I don't want people to know how much duct tape I'm purchasing, or baking soda, or bleach, or fertilizer, or anything that's an innocent use on a farm where I live, but which some insane prosecutor could try to connect dots that aren't there and say, oh, you must be a terrorist. You must be the next Oklahoma City bomber. Or, oh my God, you purchased ammunition. There's something wrong with you. No, I live in the country. We use ammo. It's part of running a ranch operation. We have firearms. There's nothing unusual about it at all. Just the fact that they have this information about you is a surrender of your liberty, because history has shown that sooner or later they will abuse it. So what's your real course of action in all of this? Stop buying from Amazon.com. Stop watching movies through Amazon Prime and reading books through Amazon Kindle. Take your business somewhere else. And I would strongly recommend you buy physical books anonymously that you can put on the shelf, and that will survive the next EMP attack, by the way. Digital books disappear, physical books don't. I also strongly advise that you stop using Facebook for social interactions, and that you stop using credit cards for any transactions at all, because they're all creating records of your psychology, of your interests, of your behavior that will be used against you. That's what history has shown, and that's what governments do. They're not in the business of giving you more freedom. they're in the business of restricting your freedom for their own benefit, so they can create more power, more control, more exploitation, and really larger tax farms where they basically extract wealth from the working masses. That's you and me. We are just animals on their tax farms, and they don't want the animals to realize what's going on. They don't want animals to be free any more than a modern day rancher wants his cows to wake up and realize, hey, we're all going to be slaughtered. The farmer doesn't try to educate cows about why they're there, what is the grand plan, and neither do globalists like Jeff Bezos tell us their real plans about how they're going to build psychological profile databases and share those with super secret spy agencies and violate our Fourth Amendment and violate our privacy and violate our rights in their quest to make more money and remain in good standing with an oppressive government that despises privacy. The bottom line is, don't trust Jeff Bezos. Don't trust the Washington Post. Don't trust Amazon.com. Don't trust any of these systems that gather profile information on you and your consumption patterns and your interests and the things that you are interested in terms of movies or books or products. It's very dangerous. There will be a day that someone's life is destroyed because of their interactions with Amazon.com. Whether it's their voice recording on an Amazon Echo device or perhaps an Amazon Fire TV device snooping on them and getting information that's used against them in some kind of malicious prosecution, or perhaps a profile of someone's reading habits and purchasing habits being used against them in a court of law in some other kind of malicious prosecution. There will be a day where a customer of Amazon.com is declared guilty and sent to prison because of information that Amazon acquired from their transactions. That day is coming. It may have already happened and we're just not aware of it yet, but if it hasn't happened, it will happen very soon, and it will happen over and over again, and it will become normalized. You give up your freedom. You give up a lot. You give up so much when you allow Amazon.com to open your brain and peer into it and essentially make a Xerox of what you're thinking and what your desires are and what your actions are and what your interests are. That is a very dangerous thing to put in the hands of a globalist like Jeff Bezos, who has proven that he is malicious, that his newspaper, the Washington Post, is a deliberate propaganda, disinformation, journo-terrorism organization. Bezos has already proven that he will use his power against you and that he will engage in psychological warfare for his purposes, not your freedoms. Keep that in mind. If you'd like to help support this video and other videos like this, visit healthrangerstore.com, where everything we sell is laboratory tested for heavy metals and more. You'll find superfoods, storable survival foods, nutritional supplements, and a full line of synthetic chemical-free body soaps, shampoos, and oral care products. Everything we sell is non-GMO, and it's all completely free of chemical sweeteners, artificial colors, hydrogenated oils, and other toxic ingredients that you want to avoid. Find all this and much more at healthrangerstore.com.